Previously on Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. Oh, of course, I wasn't thinking about the height anymore. Not after what we found up there. We found two things we were looking for, and one thing we never expected to find. Ah! Hello, I'm Unca Crunk. Welcome back to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, and day one of the trial of Maki Tobai. Oh, hello.
Court is now in session for, how do I say that?
Maki Tobai, Your Honor. The pixie of the arpeggio.
Right, his trial. Court is in session.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is A-OK here, Judge. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin.
My opening statement, huh?
No, actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about.
Yes.
Say, you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them?
Okay.
I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'd only be kicking them when they're down.
What are you talking about? Is this about your brother?
Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son.
Oh, the Chief Justice?
His son is afflicted with a most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day.
Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending? She's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for?
In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly.
Oh.
You're in luck here, Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think.
First, to review the victim in this case. Romain Latrousse, age 35. The global manager for diva songstress Lamoureux. The cause of death? Blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details.
The court accepts this into evidence.
Okay, autopsy report. Death due to loss of blood from a gunshot wound. Estimated time of death 9 to 9:30.
45 caliber. That's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet.
However, the bullet struck him in his shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved.
I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse considering.
What? He's dead. How do you get worse than dead? 2 shots were fired. One shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit.
I see. The court accepts this evidence. If we're talking about a 45 caliber revolver, we must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use.
Really? Yeah, apparently. Weapons that have that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body. This is a 45 Colt, not a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum.
The defense will take more care in choosing examples.
As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room has only one entrance, this door.
That does seem to be the case, yes.
However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots.
Nah, he's talking about you and Emma, huh?
Yet when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course.
But that's impossible.
Exactly. This murder was impossible. All but one person.
One person?
That is, of course, the defendant, Maki Tabai.
Only this defendant could have committed the crime? But how?
It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear.
Very well. I assume you have testimony to back up this claim? Please show the witness to the stand.
I think they're talking about the stepladder in the vent. Only a child could have gotten into that vent. Your name and profession, please?
Yeah, I'm a Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert for him that night.
Emma seems tired somehow.
Security at the concert, you say?
Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder.
No, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I've made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know?
I'm sure that makes her feel much better. I want to hear about these bigger mistakes.
In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime scene was quickly discovered, and we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony, if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day and your discovery of the crime, please.
All right. Witness testimony. Murderous circumstances. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
It was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene.
But the door was the only way out of the room, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, I don't get it. How can they say that Maki did it?
Yeah, looks like we need a bit more information.
Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
Cross-examination, start. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request.
Hold it! The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes?
That's right.
What was the detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert?
My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods.
Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall. Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys. That whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined. And it's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case.
There he goes again.
Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hand on their own. Howbeit, I did see a purple coat hanging in that dressing room. Maybe the keys were in there.
What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect.
Well, there's that as well. Love, slow acting and new. Atroquinine is waiting for you.
He's singing something. I wouldn't exactly call that singing. Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top?
The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor, adrift on a sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task.
I see. I can accept that.
But I can't. What do you mean, time on their hands?
Please, the testimony.
Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. We were let in, though. I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you.
I gave the Fräulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again.
Oh boy, did you hear that one? We're officially involved now. Gee, great. Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off.
So no other outsiders were there then?
And then, at the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. And you were the one chatting. I was eating snackies.
Hey, no stacking in court, unless you're going to share.
And you're sure the shots came from Lemuel's room?
Yes, absolutely. Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this'll keep you quiet. Katonk. Thanks. So, how about it, Emma? We were right there. Hard to be mistaken about that.
Please, either talk or eat, not both at the same time.
Right, so after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened the dressing room door. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body.
Rock?
Blaring, yes.
When you say rock, are you referring perhaps to this rock and roll music that's so popular these days?
That's right, when we went into the dressing room. Music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. They piped sound from the stage into the backstage through speakers. That way people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage. Oh, all of that was Emma. Oh well.
Did it have to be so loud?
You don't listen to the governors with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always have the backstage monitors at full volume.
When we walked into the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime.
If you could hear that music playing.
And everyone on stage for that song has an alibi, including myself.
Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
When did you make that determination?
How could you know something like that? As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know that there was only one exit from the room, that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So, how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent. But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly... Exactly. Oh. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child.
A child.
Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed.
And of all the people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child.
The defendant!
The pixie of the arpeggio flitted up toward the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime.
But that's
That's just conjecture.
Oh? There was no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know, Hair Forehead.
And there is another vital piece of evidence.
Evidence?
What? Marks were found on the air vent grill. Oh, crap. Traces that it had recently been opened.
Wait, what?
And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant, Maki Tobai's fingerprints.
Wow! Good grief! Order! Order! Order!
That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Hair Forehead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you?
Yeah.
Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven, and that one is our pixie.
Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience.
So this was his decisive evidence.
Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive.
Ah,
I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict, even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit.
I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough.
Ah, can't be over already.
Very well, I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence,
The prosecution has presented our proof, clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, it better be clear and plain.
Apollo! They've got us on the ropes already. We better come up with something quick.
I know. Think, what can get us out of this? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Maki's innocent beyond a doubt. Without that, Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now.
This is it. And so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over.
The court wants contradicting proof. Call a witness.
Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure?
Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. I might hold you to that. And on my million-seller hit, Atroquinine, my love.
There he goes again.
That's too bad because there was a witness.
Oh, really now? But how did you come to possess knowledge the prosecution clearly does not?
Because I am the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him, and now... He's alive! Mr. Lutoos, can you hear me?
Oh, so cold. Witness.
You're cold? Don't worry, you're gonna be fine. Help is on the way.
Good. See.
Hang in there, Mr. Lutoos. Tell me, who was the witness?
The witness is Siren.
What? The victim said this before he died?
Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not.
What do you mean by that?
All we know is what Hair Forehead says he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself.
Objection! But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely.
It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly, this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job.
That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution, I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty.
Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for?
There's no backing out now.
Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice.
Take that!
Lemmeror?
Recall Mr. Latus's last words.
Siren. A siren? Right, yes, of course. He meant the siren.
That's right. The siren of the ballad, Lemmeror. Lemmeror was only on stage for the second set, and she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness.
I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin,
My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime.
very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lemmeror to the witness stand.
Lemmeror would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her no matter what it is.
It is my distinct honor to welcome the siren of the ballad to our courtroom.
You are too kind.
You can speak English?
Yes, I can. Though I am not very good. There is much I do not know.
You speak so well. Have you spent time here before?
Actually, I do not know how I came by the knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it. Badwab? What you mean she doesn't know?
I, too, thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course.
What's that?
Lemmeror suffers from amnesia.
Amnesia?
Lemmeror is not my true name. Yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Whoa, she's even more mysterious than I thought.
As loaded singer Lemmeror, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress.
I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. You have nothing to fear in this court, Lemmeror.
Thank you. Yet there is something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness. What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened.
Lemmeror, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet, that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand.
Oh my, what a wide forehead indeed. Congratulations, Apollo, you're the bad guy.
Ah. Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Tell us what you saw the night of the crime.
Witness testimony. What I saw. As for what I saw nothing. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then I was led by the police to Master Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details. Crap, I got nothing to work with.
I must say you sound wonderful just testifying.
I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying.
There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat and refrain from detaining her here longer than need be.
Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet.
Oh, boy. Lammermoor wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. Cross-examination, start. As for what I saw nothing.
Hold it!
But you must have seen something. Mr. Latouche named you. Mr. Latouche? How can I tell you what I don't know? Lammermoor, he said you were a witness with his dying words. I do not know what he meant to say, but that night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. It was a great concert. You heard me sing? Thank you. I was hoping to get an autograph later, actually. Of course.
Mr. Justice, this is a cross-examination. You're out of line. If anyone deserves an autograph here, it's me. One of my gavel would be nice. Judge. What's this?
It's my autograph.
Now keep this trial moving. What? Oh, my grandchild will be so happy.
Apparently his grandson is a big fan.
Let us continue, shall we? If you would, Lammermoor, tell us what you did after your stellar performance.
I did not return backstage until after the second set. Oh, wait. That was wrong. I did not return backstage after the second set. You did not return backstage once? Where were you then? What were you doing? I was cleaning up on stage. What? There are many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing. And was Maki with you at the time? Unfortunately, I do not know where he was. So much for an alibi for Maki. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. With Maki, correct? How was he then? He seemed as he always does, though I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Latouche's death. Yet, he is not the type to show much emotion.
Yes, he's given the police no end of headaches. He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. The questioning hasn't gotten very far.
We sat there waiting. That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details. How was the incident explained to you? I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Latouche died.
Of course, investigations do require some security.
But Mr. Latouche was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Maki and I were beside ourselves with concern.
Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you.
I somehow doubt that. Yes, I understand. Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony? It's hard to imagine Lammermoor lying. She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? Okay, Let me see. Let's see. Oh, right, the brooch.
Objection!
I'm sorry, Lamar, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not?
Why, that's Lamar's. She was wearing it for her song.
Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin?
The what?
This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime.
What?
Lamar, how did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night.
What is the meaning of this? Lamar, please explain.
Lamar?
She says English is quite difficult.
That trick's not gonna work here.
Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer, truly. But you have missed one important fact.
What now?
In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment.
What?
Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak.
She really saying all that? What's she talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred, she talking about that? Watch this room for me. I have to call for backup. Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latos, can you hear me?
Cold, so cold. Witness.
You're cold, don't worry. You're going to be fine. Help is on the way.
The witness is Siren.
Siren? How can a siren witness anything? Thanks! Emma, what was that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma, did you see anyone just now? Huh? No. Could have sworn I heard a door close. I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you.
So this was when your bridge dropped? That explains that.
It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it. But that's ridiculous. You only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch.
Hair forehead.
What?
She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence.
So she looked in at the crime scene.
Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice.
Hair forehead shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed.
Hey! I closed the door immediately.
Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony.
That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lamar, you did look into the room though, right? Yes. Testify as to what you saw. Very well. Though it was only the briefest of glimpses. Okay, here comes the bracelet thingy. When my performance was finished, I went backstage, just for a moment. I saw nothing. The late Mr. Latus's body was behind a wall. Hey, hang on, let me look around. Okay. Let's go ahead and press first. What did you see in that brief glimpse? I had only opened the door slightly when I heard that horrible voice.
And shut the door.
I've always wondered, Hair forehead. Does that voice of yours lack a volume knob?
It's my cords of steel, man. Just back off. I saw nothing. The late Mr. Latus's body was behind a wall. Was it?
Hold it!
A wall? Was there a wall there? Boop 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 is what's in English?
A division, or partition, I believe. It was a large dressing room divided into two halves, and the murder took place in the inside half. I guess that partition might have hidden the body.
Hang on.
Where's the, right, the diagram.
Damn it.
Yeah, if she stayed in the doorway, she probably would not have seen. Wait,
If she only peeked in the doorway, how did the brooch end up there? Hopefully I remembered to put an arrow there. Put an arrow there.
all right, let's try that.
Oh, damn it, that's wrong. The witness's statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, but I can see nothing faulty. Unfortunately, I will have to penalize you, Mr. Justice.
Nah, wrong track. Okay, I guess I need to proceed. I don't see her fidgeting with anything. Okay, damn it. Don't see anything. Oh, there. Okay. All right. Got it.
Gotcha!
The late Mr. Latus's body, you say? Yes. You know something more about Mr. Latus's death than you are saying. What? I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. Can't fool my eyes. It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latus have to be shot? One moment, Lamoroir. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latus have to be shot? Yes. And? She was hiding something, I knew it! Lamoroir, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony. Eh? How could that be? Take this! Lamoroir contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. Yeah, she couldn't see the bullets, the bullet holes, or his body.
Take that!
If I do not understand the meaning of contradiction. It is you who contradict, Mr. Justice.
Nah?
Your evidence is meaningless.
Ah! Wrong evidence!
Wait, what? But, excuse me?
I think that's over. What did she say again? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot?
Oh, whoa, 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 oh. Right, hang on. Yeah, no, can't talk about it. Okay.
Take that!
Tell me, Lamar, how did you know he had been shot? Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. I had to do this part first. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. Latouche had been shot. How could you have known? Well then. Got her.
Lamar! You aren't hiding something from this court, I hope.
That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet. Now I remember. Please allow me to add to my testimony.
Of course. All we want to know is the truth.
She looks kind of pale, huh?
She saw something, I know it.
Even the victim said so. I saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Latouche had been shot. Okay. Here it is.
Hold it!
But I'm going to press first.
Only a glimpse, yet you knew they were bullet holes? Yes, I recognized them immediately. I have seen bullet holes before, you know.
You have traveled the world as a singer. You must have sung in places far more dangerous than our country.
I go wherever my voice is needed. Those places are many these days. That's really cool. I hope I get to travel like Lamar someday.
I plan on recording my next album overseas. Their studios have a different sound, you know.
Maybe I should go on a Courts of Steel tour too. All right. And now we present the diagram that shows she couldn't have seen the bullet holes.
Objection!
Lamar. They call you the siren of the ballad, but lies are hardly becoming of such a creature.
A put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice.
Oh, thank you. I try. Such put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo.
Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, Jock.
Come on. Can I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lamar, you looked in from the door for just a moment, correct? Yes, that is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes, but they were in the wall the door is on. You see, assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes.
Lamar!
Yes.
I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point. It appears you have been holding back something.
And I must tell you what it is that I saw.
Yes. The happenings in this trial are being recorded, and I'm certain it will be on the news in Borginia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it.
Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing.
But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lamar.
Very well. Lamar, please continue your testimony.
Very well, I shall. Witness testimony. What I saw, part 2. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Maki. It was a grown person. I know it was. Huh.
So you did witness the crime? And the killer was a grown person, you say?
Ugh, this is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, Hair Forehead.
Okay.
Very well, Mr. Justice, you may begin your cross-examination.
Great going, Hair Forehead. Great going, Polly. Apollo. Oh my God, what? Could someone just get my name right for once around this here place? Well, hey, look at it this way. At least you were right about Lemore. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Cross-examination, start. All right. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. So you were heading toward the dressing room? Yes. So this is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time, Emma and I heard those shots. I was on my way back. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. Okay, so... So like a hallway behind the dressing rooms.
Hold it!
What exactly is something like a little window? Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. I think this is how it is said, yes?
You need not worry, Lemore. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail?
That little window on the wall. I, saw the crime from there. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. You are certain you heard 2 shots fired? Yes, quite certain. I was on my way to the backstage exit. This was when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Faint? Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window. That is when I heard the second gunshot, much closer. And there were 2 bullet holes at the scene. No contradiction so far. It all happened on the other side of that window. There was nothing I could do. Faint my ass! But it wasn't Maki. It wasn't Maki who shot, are you sure? Yes, quite certain.
It amuses me that you would question her testimony. It is testimony in your favor. Is it my job to object?
Yeah, Apollo, what were you thinking? Trucy, let's just listen to what Lemore has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure? Yes, of course. You see, it was a grown person. I know it was. A grown person. That's a little vague. I am sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know.
Certainly you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
It was a man. A young man.
And you're sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear. Okay, if his voice was clear, then how the hell was the gunshot faint? Voice?
Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
But there's only one place the shooter could be standing, and that's directly behind the man who was clearly very close to the little window that you were looking through, and you couldn't see him. As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man.
So you heard a voice. But wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche?
Absolutely not. Did I not just say I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known.
Indeed. So you were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man.
Apollo, this is good testimony. That proves it was a Maki.
Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony?
Yeah, boy.
It's still contradictory, but I'm not sure. Okay. It's obviously contradictory, but I'm not sure how I'm going to back that up. Though it pains me to say this, there's something about Lamor's testimony that rings false. Bravo, hair forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means Lamar has to be lying. I know, and I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. Is as hair forehead says? Yet, this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. But, what's he talking about? Lamar, I understand why you would want to protect Maki. Yet, remember, you are the siren of the ballad, and lies do not become such a creature.
What does the prosecution mean?
Follow, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that?
I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room? Yes, and when the murder took place, that window was closed.
What?
I find it hard to believe that you could hear a voice through it.
What? But I'm sure.
Lamar, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser.
Objection!
But she's the only eyewitness we have.
Objection!
So you say. And the victim named her, the siren, as the witness.
That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche.
We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility. And it brought us to this. Herr Judge.
Yes?
The prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please.
I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness's credibility.
But if Lamar can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Maki's innocence.
This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case.
Unca. Now, where were we? Yes. I would like to hear from Fräulein Detective again.
In the next episode, do the outro! Okay, first of all, that window could have easily been closed after the murder, but before we showed up, since it appears to open outward. Probably couldn't have opened the window from the outside, though. Secondly, whoever shot Latouche fired the shots from behind where we found the body, possibly through that window. The gun could have then been tossed through the window. I hate to abandon my theory that the gun belongs to Latouche and that a different weapon was used to kill him, but the autopsy report doesn't seem to support that. Thirdly, if that pistol was used and it has as much recoil as everyone keeps banging on about, then a child couldn't have fired it. And finally, everyone seems to forgetting that Maki Tobai is blind. I swear this trial is getting off to an infuriating start. There are so many contradictions that they're swarming around Apollo's shiny little forehead like flies, and yet he hasn't managed to clutch a single one of them. Anywho, we'll get back to Emma's testimony next time. Hopefully she'll help us science some of those contradictions out of the air. In the meantime, up here's a playlist of my Danganronpa V3 playthrough, and down here's a video that YouTube recommends. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!